Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Gate Ruler video. Now, in this one I'm going to be talking about a kind of meme-y deck that I've come up with. I honestly am still undecided on if this is good or absolutely terrible, but it's fun, and it's worth giving a couple of games with, if nothing else. Yeah, so let's talk about what this is. It's another Knight deck. And it's Wonderverse Atlas, and it's that is the wrong thing I clicked. It is a burn deck based on Bullseye Wolf and a bunch of other burn cards. So let's talk about it. So as I say, this is just going to be the essentials for the deck. You can do the actual building yourself. But these are like the staple things and the options you should really consider. So let's start with Bullseye Wolf. This is a level 0, touchdown, either deal 1 damage to your opponent or choose an enemy unit and deal 1 damage to it. So typically you're going to be using the burn 1 from this effect to the opponent. I realise that was a really unhelpful description. You're going to be using the burn, so I'll say unit burn when I mean like damage to units. So you're going to be typically using the burn, and that's scary. This deck is basically built around dealing a load of burn damage to your opponent and them not really being able to do anything about it. So let's show the other two cards that burn. And the first one is Blaster Cannon, which either deals 1 damage to the opponent or choose an enemy unit and unit burns it for 2. And then there is Photon Torpedo, which burns 1 to the opponent or destroys 1 enemy set card. So these are your 3 cards that are going to be doing burn. You'll notice 2 of them are counters, which means that half the time when you hit a counter, you're going to be running 4 of each of these, you're going to be dealing damage to your opponent. Now, combined with this, what you're also going to be doing is running ways to loop your wolf. And here's how you're going to do that. So the first option here is Capture Beam. So this is going to let you salvage your wolf and just play it again to do that burn 1 more time. And then there's also Arc, which is going to let you choose a level 1 lower military and add it to your hand. So in this case, you're going to be choosing your wolf and adding it back whenever you hit this counter. So essentially, it's like 12 of your counters are doing a burn damage, though of course this one is delayed. So you get the idea for the deck, you're just doing burn, but there are other options as well. You don't only have to be doing burn damage to your opponent, of course. Now there are sort of 2 routes you can go down. There's also Normandy Exercise, which you can use to get wolves out of the damage zone, and obviously since it's 0 cost, you'll just be able to play it instantly, and it's healing you as well, so this is another option. So yeah, as I say, there are 2 routes you can go down for your final counter choice. Now, the one I've been doing is Guns and Gold Weapon Arsenal so far, and that's because this is basically something I can just play when I draw it, though the other option is equally valid. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but here what this is going to do is it's going to buff all of your unit burn damage. So it doesn't buff all burn, otherwise this deck would probably be tier 0. So yeah, this is a really nice option, and what this is going to do is it's going to stack all your other unit burn cards, which means your Bullseye Wolf will be doing 2, 3, 4, or up to 5 damage to a unit, which is terrifying. Your Blaster Cannon will be doing 3, 4, 5, up to 6 damage. Realistically, 4 is pretty common. So if you think that, doing 1 damage is not always going to be the best thing to do, sometimes you just want to clear your opponent's center so you can smash face for 3 with Ruler. So now you've got all those. You've also got options like Suppression Fire. So this is again going to get buffed by that Guns and Gold to do 3, 4, 5, 6 damage. This is also really nice against special summon decks because you're going to be able to turn off their ability to special summon by just removing the special summoner. So yeah, this is another really solid option, and of course it's free. And then we've also got Victor here, another option. This one's really good. When it attacks, you choose one enemy unit and deal 2 damage to it. So this is essentially a 6 attacker, but with 1 Guns and Gold, it's essentially like it's 7 attack. And at that point, it's removing everything in the game, unless they have a card to buff its HP or something. And of course, with more Guns and Gold, this is going to get more and more scary, up to 6 damage on attack, which is obviously terrifying. So you got those options there. Now, the other option, the other route you could go instead of the Guns and Gold to buff all of your burn would be to just play zap, 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 and just rely on flipping this as a counter to nuke your opponent's board. This is also a really good option. If you haven't been zapped at counter speed yet, you don't understand. It is pure pain. There is literally nothing you can do. It just happens, and you have to sit there and cry. So this is another option, and it's still a good option. Honestly, I'm not sure which is better, but all I know is both are they're sort of equally likely to piss your opponent off. Which is this is more immediate. What the fuck? Whereas if you play Guns and Gold, then that is a sort of delayed. You could also go 2-2 if you are an indecisive individual. The final couple options are going to be the first one here, which is Crystal, as sort of essential cards, and this is because you're running so many sets, right? You're going to be running Suppression Fire, Normandy, Arc, Capture Beam, Photon Torpedo, Blaster Cannon. There's a lot of sets already that you're kind of forming part of your core, so this could be nice to just filter through those and get them. Generally, you'll want to be hitting like a Suppression Fire or a Capture Beam or something. You don't necessarily want to be getting your counters out of your deck, but, you know, this is an option. The other thing is Backpacker, and I'm a much bigger fan of Backpacker here because what you can do with this is play a Wolf, deal 1 damage to your opponent, and then play your Backpacker out from your damage, discarding your Wolf to play this. So now you've got bigger stats, you've got better value. You're also getting an additional counter check, which is either potentially going to be an Arc to salvage that Wolf you just destroyed, or it could be one of your 8 cards to deal burn damage to your opponent, or it could be a Zap to board wipe, or it could be a Guns and Gold to buff your burn damage, to buff your unit burn damage. So there are all these options, and yeah, this is that's sort of the last card of like the core, and there's a lot of ways you can kind of take the deck from here. Now, of course, this is a night deck, so you lose access to the pure degeneracy of going down the apprentice route, which would let you, which would be sort of more focused on some overdrive cards, and then you would get access to your counter recycler. But I don't think that's worth it because I think it is fundamentally, I think being able to loot Bullseye Wolf is really scary. And, you know, all these options are not really harming your ability to just be a really powerful deck, because fundamentally Atlas just has so much good stuff that you can just play that it doesn't really matter what you do to an extent. You're still going to have access to some of your absolute best tools. For example, the Absolute Chad Rampart Elephant. This is still something you're going to be able to play as a super scary defensive option that your opponent's not going to be able to do too much about. You've still got access to really, really powerful vanillas. You can actually go down that route if you want to just play pure value stats and doing burn damage. And if you're going to do that, cards that you would want to be looking into would be stuff like Spacecraft Velocto, which is 4/5/3, which is obviously like that's big stats. If you were not aware, those are pretty big stats. You can also play Pojimu. This is just a really value card. 2/5/2 is just some incredible stat spread. So that's another really good option that you can just sort of abuse. Then there are other ones as well. You could play Space Sphinx if you just wanted a kind of scary defender. Not a fantastic option, but it's an option. There's so much you could do with this deck, and yeah, I'm a massive fan of it. I think it's worth giving a shot. Also, don't forget you have access to, if you want to, you can also play something like Arthur if you just want to annoy your opponent, though of course you can have you're going to need to have the cost open to actually be able to make use of the effect. However, more valuably, what you can do is get around Arthur. And being able to get around Arthur is more valuable than you think, because yeah, your opponent's going to Arthur you, but if you've got any of your burn cards set, you literally don't care. One other thing you can do is get your opponent to down to 1 life and end your turn. Your opponent's turn starts, and during their start phase you just go, right, flip, burn you for 1, proc your Arthur, you end your own turn, flips back to me. So, you know, this is a cheeky little thing you can get access to, which is going to help you out things like Robo, which are really powerful apprentice decks. So yeah, that is the burn archetype, as it were. I know this isn't like strictly faction focused, but I thought this is a cool deck idea that I wanted to share, and I wanted people to sort of experiment with and let me know what they come up with. So yeah, please give it a go. Tweet me if you come up with some lists, or post them in Discord, and you know, you have some thoughts and opinions, because I'm happy and interested to see them. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like the video if you did, and sub to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.